The Pathway of Truth, addressed by the beloved Ascended Master Hilarion, Kohan of the Fifth Ray. Beloved friends who have sought the pathway of truth for many ages, I come to congratulate you upon the constancy of your search. Upon this earth, truth has not been welcomed for many ages, and the seekers after truth have always been in the minority. The great majority of the people have always preferred to conform to some existing religion and have not been desirous of passing into the more rigorous self-discipline, self-denials, and initiations required to find actual God truth. For the most part, in every age and every century, individuals are born into some particular religious activity, which their parents before them had confirmed, and it is seldom they take more than one step upward in embodiment from that religion into which they were born, into which they were raised. But then there are always the few, century after century, coming into embodiment again and again, brave enough to spear through hypocrisy, half-truth, dogmatism, and rituals of human concepts, seeking to find the true way. In this embodiment, as well as many previous ones, you, my listeners and readers, have at least sought to find out just what truth is, that truth of which Jesus the Christ has said, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." It is our honor, responsibility, and obligation to the universe, as representatives of the Brotherhood of Truth at Crete, to give every God assistance to life streams, not only the unascended, embodied life stream, but those waiting at the gates of birth, when they really and honestly wish to know what truth is. As beloved Moria has said, the year of 1957 may not be too comfortable for you from an outer standpoint. This is because when you invoke the flame of truth sincerely, it will begin to act in your emotional, mental, etheric, and physical bodies, dissolving human concepts, exactly as one crumbles away mortar and plaster to find the beautiful marble inside of the early monuments built in ancient times. So as the crumbling of many of our concepts take place, there is a temporary sensation of confusion and chaos, which will be replaced by a firmer conviction of truth. On Atlantis, we were privileged to be among those who were the priests and priestesses of the temple guarding the flame of truth. There, the beloved Pallas Athena, who was one of your great sponsors for 1957, was the high priestess, and her great light was known to every person representing the white order on the lighted surface of the earth. Her power of magnetization of the green flame of truth covered not only the continent of Atlantis, but permeated the atmosphere of the surface of the earth at that time. It was a magnificent thing to watch her as she turned her attention and the currents of her light to the source of all light, and by her powers of invocation drew forth the green flame of cosmic Christ truth. Then the priests and priestesses who worked with her in that temple endeavored to duplicate the activity as she drew it forth, and they too drew smaller rays of cosmic Christ truth into the atmosphere of earth. They practice, as we have told you before, the projecting of the virtue, the color, the feeling of the pressure of truth into Earth's atmosphere. During Atlantean and Lemurian civilization, as well as those of earlier ages, from time to time there came from other temples located on their continents various individuals making a visitation to the Temple of Truth. There were the great patriots who wanted truth regarding the governments of their land. There were the great educators who wanted more truth, the light of truth in their conscience regarding ways and means of providing proper direction for their people's education. There were the great humanitarians desirous of learning the truth of how best to serve their fellow man. There were the great architects and designers who were eager to carry back to their own country the perfection of designs from the Temple of Truth. There were the men and women of science who wished to perfect glorious electronic mechanisms and to carry those back to their people as magnificent inventions. Then, too, there were the great missionaries who particularly devoted themselves to serving their fellow man spiritually. Also, from every one of the continents, there were the priests who were powerfully active on the seventh ray. These visitors often, or sometimes only once in a lifetime, depending upon their freedom to travel and their capacity to learn, visited the Temple of Truth, where Pallas Athena gave forth her radiation. Then, in proximity to her great light, they would be illumined upon the 7 channels of constructive expression and carry that illumination back to their people. It is currently the endeavor of the beloved Mahakohan, through the establishment of the specialized force fields, to re-establish the same entire activity which will be the expression of the golden age of the ascended Master Saint Germain. For instance, those who desire and require protection would know there is a group dedicated to the drawing and radiating of that magnetic power. Those who desire grace and benediction would know that there is a focus of our blessed Maha Kohan. Those who would require healing would know where that focus is. The endeavor of Master Morya and the Maha Kohan to get this picture before the students in their minds and feelings has not yet taken hold sufficiently, so that the impersonal attitude will supersede the personal attitude which acclaims any one virtue or activity more than another. When we worked on Atlantis and on Lemuria, there was no war between faith, love, and healing. Each individual was consecrated to the magnetizing, radiating, and sustaining of his own virtue, and the entire atmosphere of Earth, as well as the inner bodies of the people, were benefited by each such temple. Of course, we are yet in the beginning of this golden age, and there is much of the personal self of individuals who have not yet come to the place of sublimation where the ray and virtue are the important gift, rather than the personality drawing that ray, or the group performing that service. When the Maha Kohan can find within some group, wherever they may be, the selflessness which is required, I can tell you honestly that it will be greatly hastening the expansion of the qualities which are so much required to permeate the mental, emotional, etheric, and physical atmosphere of this planet. A conductor is very important when dealing with an orchestra, and each musician playing upon this particular instrument, each one contributing to that music, stops when the conductor signals to stop, and does not go on blaring above the rest of the orchestra in order to make one individual heard above the others. Just such unity of service and activity has been a desire and design of our beloved Maha Kohan for many ages, in which he is endeavoring now, through Morya's activity, to at least present to the mental consciousness of the embodied. So we, who carry the flame of the truth, and watch the human ego, find that there is so much desire to show off the power of radiation drawn that some of the virtue is lost. You will have to be like the selfless ones in certain monasteries and the seamless garments with the hood drawn over the face. That is the initiation of the Egyptian and early Grecian mysteries, when one had no identity and no name. One was completely hooded from head to foot, and his service was given in silence. He never spoke, and the radiation which passed from the body was a confirmation of what was generated, magnetized and sustained. It was a difficult series of initiations, some of which you passed and some of which you failed. We honor that great temple of truth, the memory of which, at the sinking of Atlantis, was brought over to the present Grecian peninsula in the minds and hearts of the priests and priestesses who loved it and had retained the idea of that beautiful temple of Pallas Athena. When the temple of truth was established originally in Greece, it took many, many centuries of embodiment and re-embodiment upon behalf of the priests and priestesses devoted to its teaching, before the actual magnificent temple itself was physically manifest. There was almost an exact duplicate in its beauty and perfection of the original Atlantean temple. You see, once you have looked upon a thing, it remains in your memory, recorded in your etheric body. For instance, as you might look upon one of the public buildings in your city, then you hold that idea in mind. Now, if you had tenacity enough, energy enough, constancy enough, and substance enough, you could recreate the public building at any other place on the earth's surface. That is what was done at Luxor in Greece, in Shambhala, and various other places where these temples were established. The patterns were brought into minds and consciousness of those who had been present in the height of the great glory of these temples. Those individuals, remember, were under the law of the band of forgetfulness, which allowed the possibility of their losing the memory of those patterns when they passed on at the close of each embodiment. Thus they were born again in baby bodies and had to come to their majority, retaining the idea through an earth life, a period of disembodiment, and a period of birth adjustment to a family and race. Then they endeavored to recreate that perfect pattern again. I challenge you, even you who have lived in one city for most of your life, could you recreate from a thought picture one of these public buildings, especially if you were to pass from the body and come back again? I think not. Those beings who created this Grecian temple of truth were, of course, under the radiation of Pallas Athena, and they received the tremendous protection of her love and light. Centuries came and went, and finally, like the great palaces at Luxor, the magnificence of the temple of truth began to fall into decay through the decline of the Grecian civilization. At that time there arose the order known as the Delphic oracles. Most of them had belonged to Pallas Athena's court. These Delphic oracles performed the same service as our speaker and any great god being, archangel, archai, seraphim, cherubim, or ascended master, could use the body of such an oracle upon occasion, in order to give instruction to a group who would gather together and receive the assistance. The original Delphic oracles were carefully trained from early childhood. They were protected from all contact with the outside world, and therefore from all pressure of personality of their own or others. They were a clear pipeline through which the divine beings could reach the few who were speaking truth upon this planet Earth. Then, as you have been told, the oracles no longer remained completely pure. Several of those who performed services of black magic on Atlantis in prior embodiments sold themselves for profit to various governments. The messages which they gave to the credulous people were previously written out for them by some unscrupulous individual who had bought the services of that oracle in order to further his cause. So the light of the Delphic oracles diminished, and a great many of the people, completely disillusioned at that time, have not recovered from this disappointment, even to this present day. There are those who are so very suspicious of anything in the way of a mystic phenomena or extrasensory perception of any kind. You see, they had once come in hope and faith, and had been deceived. It is those people I have personally dedicated a great portion of my life, hoping to bring them to a point where they desire to know the truth which will set them free. Presently, in the etheric atmosphere over Crete, we have a magnificent replica of the Temple of Truth. It looks something like the Parthenon, the ruins of which may be seen today, but very much larger. As you know, Lord Gautama was absolutely relentless in his search for truth, and his love of that virtue took him through initiations alike of which few individuals could easily pass. When he found the ultimate, he made the great renunciation of returning to earth to teach truth, which he did for so many years. Our temple is very large, and there have been visitors to this temple for many, many centuries since its advent in the etheric realm. Since we opened on the 15th of January, 1957, there have been coming many of the hierarchy, and we have many councils, open houses, you might say. Beloved Pallas Athena, great goddess of truth, is there anything you would like to say to these people? Addressed by beloved Pallas Athena. Yes, son. I would like to say that I have honored the presence of truth, ever since I stood in the aura of beloved Vesta, and was vested with the obligation and responsibility of sustaining truth for the people of earth, whenever and wherever they should ask for and require it. I am grateful beyond limit that not only here, but all over the known world, cries for truth are arising from the hearts of the people. They are no longer content to be deceived, and this desire for truth from within their hearts is the open door which was used to pour the truth back to them and give every God assistance possible. There will be born here on earth in the course of this year 2 life streams of those who have recently been released from the compound through your tremendous calls. They belong to the Delphic band during its decline. So will you please be so kind as to make calls that the cause and core of that weakness be removed from them, and that these individuals, when they reach their majority, may reattain the dignity of the Delphic priesthood, which we once knew and saw manifest upon this earth. I give to you the flame of truth, which is the flame in my heart. Test every experience against the flame of truth, which is within my heart and yours. Speak my name, call my presence, and you shall have that flame and all the assistance which I can give. And now, my beloved Mahakohan, will you speak to these people? Addressed by beloved Mahakohan. Just tell the dear ladies and gentlemen that they have done considerably well in establishing force fields in the atmosphere of Earth, while yet there are so many riptides of human creation. Tell them that the pictures and patterns of things to come flash through the mind's eye long before they are manifest in form. Neither stress nor strain, tension nor worry can accomplish that which service given in love can do. May I say that I think our son, our beloved Hilarion, through his great interest in promoting the flame of truth, like so many of our Kohans, has sometimes unconsciously created a feeling of tension in bodies that are strung all too tightly at present, and in souls that have endured much. So to these beloved Chiles I say peace and comfort. You have come far, and you have done well. I love you. So be it.